So, am I audible? I guess, and I don't know whether I'm
Yes,
visible or
yes.
not.
Yes, yes. You are visible and audible.
Okay, thank you. So, the topic today is voice your worries. So, definitely the title itself says what worries are. So, before I go into the individual questions, so basic understanding about what mental health means to us. So definitely for us, we hardly pay any heed to the mental health and we all focus on the physical health. But we first need to know what mental health means to us. So basically, it involves the effective functioning in our day to day activities, like it includes our academic functions, social, occupational, caregiving, relationship, whether we are able to communicate or maintain a healthy relationship, whether we are able to do productive activities, and are these worries interfering in my day to day activities or not. Even if they are, but I'm still able to adapt to the changes or able to use my coping strategies to face the adversities or not. So if I'm able to do all of them, so more or less we say that we are mentally healthy, or we are able to cope with the situations, or we are able to adjust with the situations. So now coming to mental illness. So definitely the opposite of what is told in mental health. Like definitely there might be some changes in our way we feel, the way we think, and the way we act, or maybe combination of all of them. So definitely mental illness would include symptoms that are associated with some kind of distress, disturbance, and are interfering in our day-to-day activities, in our functioning, in our daily aspects like the social, occupational, and family aspects. Okay. So any queries you can write on chat box regarding this. So while
Sorry, ma'am, 1 second, just to
yeah,
interrupt. So, guys, all of you, welcome. The thing is, we are also having a Google query form which we will put in the chat box. So, if you have any queries, you can directly ask those. And it's again an anonymous form, so it doesn't identify who has asked, but you can just put your questions in that Google form, and the queries will be answered at the end after the queries which already were asked before. So ma'am will take those queries first and then take your queries as well. So we'll put it in the chat box in some time, just to let you know. Thank you, ma'am. Sorry for the interruption.
no problem. Yes, so looking at all the questions, what I would like to clarify beforehand is like none of the management techniques or the treatments or the solutions or answers, whatever we would be defining, won't work overnight. So it's not like a painkiller that we can just pop it and then the pain would go, like we have headache or stomach ache or something like that. So the way the symptoms have developed through time, it will take us time to mend it. So it needs persistence to practice, and the way we implement the measure. Just like the way we learn piano, we learn dancing, we learn some school lessons, it needs practice. So definitely trying the techniques or management process or changes in our lifestyle or any decisions that we need to take, that will definitely take time and that will need persistence to practice. So, the symptoms. So, what are these symptoms? By looking at the queries, so they were related to feelings like anxiety, depression, relationship issues, frustration, anger, suicidal thoughts. So, all these are symptoms, but it's not like the symptoms just popped up from the sky. So, there must be a definite reason why these have developed. So we need to understand what is the source of these symptoms and what are the cause of these symptoms. So to give you an example, how to understand this, all of us know about rivers, right? Most popular or the most common is River Ganga. So it has a source, like it is originating from the mountains, from the melting of the snow, and then it has its course. Then it goes travels through the mountains, the plateaus, the plains, and then it ends with distributaries and meeting the sea. So basically, the symptoms are the distributaries where it's meeting the sea. But in order to understand how it's meeting, when did it start, how did it start, how is it so big, how did it travel so fast, so for that we need to know how did it begin and how the rains are helping it to continue with it. So definitely for each of the symptoms, for each of the queries, We need to understand the duration, like how long we are facing this difficulty, what is the intensity of it, like how much is it interfering in my life, in my day to day activities, what is the frequency of it, how often do I feel anxious, how often do I feel depressed, how often do I feel angry, what are the causes, are there any definite reasons behind it, like could be family, could be friends, could be any illness or anything. Precipitating factors, are there any definite incident that has happened, maybe an accident, maybe a breakup, maybe loss, divorce, death, covid, anything. There might be some precipitating factors and maintaining factors, like as I said, in terms of the river, the rains are helping to, for the water, for the river to flow. So definitely there must be some maintaining factors which is making the symptoms to continue till now, that is making the symptoms to get severe or continue its course. So we all need to take these also into account in order to understand the uh, psychological symptoms or psychological distress which are hampering our day-to-day activities. And as I mentioned earlier, so definitely the extent to which it affects my social, occupational, academic, and personal aspect. So all these things you can note it down if you want to. So later on you can reflect on all these factors to understand more about what's going on. So before I go to the queries, one thing again I would like to clarify. It's not like I would give some lectures that this is the question and these are 1, 2, 3, 4 you need to do and then your anxiety will go away. So the first point mentioned, it's not going to work overnight. So definitely you need to know few questions, few answers to those symptoms or difficulties that you are facing. So I have noted down the questions, what questions you might be asking to yourself. So definitely that might give you some direction, some idea about how severe it is, how intense it is, and then accordingly might help you to take few decisions, maybe help you to solve few decisions or solve few problems, or you might decide to meet a psychiatrist or a clinical psychologist as and when required. Okay. So you can keep a paper and a pen or a diary or a pen in front of you to note down the queries, because I have tried to note down for each of the queries what definite questions to be asked to yourself, because it just mentions few questions, just mention one line, and we need to know the duration, intensity, frequency, reasons, causes, everything, which seemed missing from these one line questions. So if you yourself can answer these questions, you will definitely get some direction at least. Okay. So moving on to the first one, I have clubbed these two questions together because they are similar to anxiety and panic attacks. The first one says, my panic attacks are getting more frequent lately and it is making it difficult for me to speak up in the class and is affecting my studies. What should I do? Similar to this, how do I get over my stage fright? So this question also has many queries, like what kind of stage it is. Is it like a performing art or is it like presenting in a workplace? So I have jotted down few questions. You can note them down, like both of you who have asked the question. The first one, since when? Like, since when did I start getting anxiety, or since when did I start getting frightened or anxious while presenting a case or presenting a PPT or maybe performing or maybe asking questions in the class? Any incidents of bullying, criticism, ridiculing while I was presenting, or while I was, I raised my hand, or I asked a question, or is it something related to the way I speak, my pronunciation? So those were not clear. So you can note down the questions and answer it by yourself. And are you able to speak elsewhere when you are speaking with your friends, family, relatives, when you are not presenting or when you are not, the forefront or the spotlight when in the stage, sorry, on the stage or in the class? The next question to answer is, what is the fear of speaking? Is there a fear of judgment that my classmates or my audience or my listeners are going to judge me the way I speak? Do I stammer, or is there any pronunciation difficulty? Uh, those questions. So definitely you note down the question and answer yourself. What is the worst thing that's going to happen if they laugh at me? So, or they ridicule me, or are we expecting, or am I expecting that they will throw tomatoes or eggs that is shown in the TV? That is exactly what is going to happen to me. What makes me feel helpless? Like, am I underestimating my abilities? Am I underestimating myself and overestimating the external situation? Like, they know everything, and they are very smart, and I am the one who doesn't know anything. So, or are there any kind of questions like, what if I stammer, ask silly questions? They will notice me. Do I give a wrong answer, or will I perform in a wrong way? Or is my presentation provided, are not correct or anything? So these questions you can, jot down somewhere, and so that you can get the answers, and so that you can reflect on few of them. What next you can do is you can write down your fearful thoughts once you get the answers, like what is the fear, what if they laugh at me, then what could be the probable outcomes. Like, whenever for both of you, when you are presenting or when you are asking a question, raising your hand or answering any question asked by the teacher or maybe your boss or anybody, what could be the probable outcomes if you answer or if you present, and then what could be the probable solution, because many a times we tend to overthink a lot, like what if okay, fine, we cannot stop the thoughts, but we can definitely think of the solutions also. Okay, few more questions to ask. Should I studying, attending class, stop performing, stop presenting? And what exactly is my purpose or goal of studying? Or maybe if you are working or if you are on the stage, what is my purpose? Like, is it related to something professional, career, job? What? Few things you can do is like, since panic attacks and anxiety is related to physical symptoms, you can practice few deep breathing or relaxation techniques, not like meditation where you have to sit for long hours, but maybe 30 to 40 counts of deep breathing of inhale and exhale. Make a routine for the entire day that will help you to manage the time. Speak in front of the mirror, or when you are going to give a performance or present. And for study part, you can study in advance, so that will help you gain that confidence that okay, I know the answer, so let me try to sit on the front bench, because many a times what happens when you sit on the last bench and the teacher asks you some questions, so everybody turns towards you, and that really is intimidating sometimes. So maybe sometimes you can try to sit on the front bench, so that you can not able to see everybody's reaction. Or if it is online, you can ask to keep the video off, but do ask questions. So now also both of you can ask question if you have anything, and if you have any fearful thoughts about what would be my judgment or anybody else's judgment, you can write the questions and the answers for yourself. Should I move on to the next query? Hello, are you able to hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, yes. So moving to the next question, whenever someone compliments me, I almost all the time feel like I'm not good enough, and that the person is being kind, or I just got lucky to accomplish what I did. How do I overcome this feeling? So definitely not overnight. So definitely there must be some course, or there must be some source to it. So ask yourself, since when any incidents happened of ridiculing or criticizing or naming or anything like that, what makes me feel that I'm not worth. So if you're not good enough, then what, like what is making me to feel like that? What did I accomplish till date? Like you have mentioned that whatever I uh, accomplished what I did, I just got lucky. So definitely you must have accomplished something. So how much percentage do you feel is luck, and how much is effort? So accomplishment might be anything. like maybe an award or maybe getting full marks or anything. So how much do you feel? Is it 100% luck, or is it 50-50, or it's like 80% luck and 20% effort? So in that way, how much would be you can increase your effort in that? What are my strengths and weaknesses? Can the weaknesses be modified to my strengths? Can they be improved in any way? How do I feel if I have the thought like I'm not good enough? So do you feel depressed? Do you feel upset? So what other thoughts are there, and what could be the probable outcomes? So in that case, you can seek the help of a psychiatrist or a clinical psychologist to help you understand more. But till then, you can maintain a daily schedule, like do things uh, which interest you. You can maintain, start doing your hobbies, make a wish list, and start doing them, and see how much is your effort and how much is luck fulfilling those wish lists. And definitely, what actions or things will make me feel that I'm good enough? Like, are they anything related to my actions, or are they anything related to family, friends? What? And definitely try to implement and see, like, whether you are lucky enough or whether there is, your effort. Like, could be exams, could be, presentation. So give a mock test and see how much. I don't know what kind of accomplishment you are trying to say, but hypothetically, if it is an exam, so you can take some papers and study and see how much you are able to answer and how much not, how much more is required to study. Okay. So maybe answering few of these questions, you will be able to get some direction or some reflection on the source and cause, duration, frequency, what are the causes behind it, what are the maintaining factors that are making me to feel on and on that I'm not good enough or I'm not capable enough, the lack of confidence behind it. Okay. Am I going too fast? I'm not sure.
No, ma'am, you're perfectly fine.
Okay. Yes. I get bullied and body shamed by everyone in my family. It got to the point that I can't look at the mirror or take photos. If I do that, I really get panic attacks. So, along with the questions like since when, what happened, any definite incidents or not, what are the causes, so definitely answer those questions. I'm not repeating the similar questions. You must have understood what questions to ask to understand the source, cause, reason, duration, frequency, intensity. Apart from that, few other questions you can ask. So what exactly does the family imagine as body structure should be? Like, is there a definition in quotes like, you have to be this and you have to be that? And how many people around you feel that can actually fit into that definition? Like, that can include family members, friends, relatives, neighbors, anybody. And who are these family members? Parents or extended family, neighbors, siblings? Who are these family members? And if they are only extended family members, how important they are? And are the immediate family members also supporting that, not supporting that? So, write the question, write the answers. Do you also agree with the definition, or you have a separate image of body structure? Has it changed because your family started expecting a certain kind, like what you had and what your family expects, and you're trying to fit into that always? Is I don't know what kind of body shaming is it. If it is related to skin color, or if it is body weight, then you can check your BMI and decide what needs to be done. So if you are overweight, underweight, checking with the BMI, and then you can, if you want, you can make changes, and also ask why do I need to make the changes. So, with the present body type, is there any physical difficulty or any other difficulties that you might face, uh, maybe now or in the future? So, in that case, you can consult with the doctor. Like, and I'm still not sure what kind of body shaming is it, like weight wise or skin color wise. If it is skin color wise, then also you try to follow these questions and ask, like, whether due to the particular kind of skin color, am I going to face any problem with respect to my physical ability to function day to day activities, or you know maybe in the future or today. If yes, then you can consult a doctor, take a professional opinion about it. Along with that, what are your own goals, like personal or professional? Is that anything to do with the body type? Is it something that you want to go to the media, or maybe acting or anything like that? Or even if you go, then I guess there is a lot of acceptance nowadays. What it has been 10 years back, now it is more accepting in nature. So, and see whether that is matching with your body type and the professional and personal thing. Do I always or will always abide by what my family says? Like, am I submissive in nature? Do I always listen and believe what my family says? If yes, why? Do I have a different opinion on certain things? Why am I not able to be, express that or being assertive about it? So write the fearful thoughts, probable outcomes, probable solutions. Definitely, it involves a lot of overthinking about it. You know, like they are body shaming me. What should I do? I'm not able to fit into their definition. So, okay, if I'm not able to fit into their definition, what is the probable outcomes? Like after you answer a few of the questions, and what is the probable solution? Like, do I really need to change, or it's just their image that you should be, and is there is a need or not? Okay. Or and along with that, practice some hobbies. What are your own interests? Do some relaxation exercise, physical exercise. You can ask your family to go for family therapy, or you can consult a psychiatrist or clinical psychologist if at all you're not able to find out any direction related to this. Okay, so there the professional might help the family to have a better understanding or have a more rational understanding about the situation. Okay, so here we need to understand where the cause lies. Is it like you have a problem, or the family's definition or the family's thought process has something unreasonable to deal with it? So I think few of these questions might help you to get some direction into it. Okay. I recently broke up with a girl because of the toxicity in the relation. She's now continuously mailing me and telling a lot of negative stuff, sending messages from various numbers, which I keep blocking, and spoiling my reputation. I have become an introvert and dread to open my mails or WhatsApp. What How do I get over this fear and mental trauma? I keep telling myself I did the right thing by breaking up. So, first question, what could be her purpose? What is her intention to contact you? What is she going to gain? So, ask yourself these questions and try to answer. Like, what is the purpose? If the relationship was toxic, she must be knowing, you must be knowing. So, definitely, you must have taken the decision by thinking a lot about it. What makes you feel helpless? So if she's contacting, if she's spreading negative stuff and sending you mails, what is making you feel helpless? Like, what will happen? Have you thought about doing an FIR if it has gone beyond the level of, uh, patience, or if it has gone to the level that it is hampering your work or school or college? I don't know exactly how old you are and what what you are doing. So have you thought of doing that? Any family member can help if you are a minor or if you are too young to handle the thing. Is there anybody in the family or friends can help you to deal with it? Is there any support system there? Did the family members know about the girl before? So try to answer these questions. Specifically, the second one, what makes you feel helpless? And along with that, we talked about reputation. So, have I done anything wrong to spoil my own reputation? So, is there anything to do with you, or is it only based on the negative stuff that she's spreading that? can spoil your reputation. And is there anything that that is making you feel that I'm going to turn into an introvert? So were you always an introvert, or you have decided that because of this I will turn to an introvert? So if not, then what makes me hide from everyone? So if you have not done anything wrong, or if you have taken a good decision like you have mentioned in the query, so what makes you to hide from everyone? Even if she spreads negative stuff or wrong messages, emails, everything, what will happen if people, friends, family come to know about that what she said? Whom will they believe? Me or them? Whoever they believe, just write the reasons. So if you feel that they will believe her, write the reasons. Why would they believe her? Is there anything to do with you? Or if they believe you, write the reasons, and I think you might get some direction out of it. If not, please get in touch with the professional. They can help you more into this. Okay. After being clean for 2 years, I have started self harming again. I want to kill myself. That's all I ever think about now. Another similar query, I get suicidal thoughts. How do I stop them? So before getting into the questions, I would suggest both of you to get in touch with a psychiatrist or a clinical psychologist soon, because you might not be in a state to ask questions. I don't know how severe are these thoughts, how often do you get, how often do you self harm yourself, but please take help of a professional. If you need to stay anonymous, that's also fine. There are a lot of mediums to do that, but definitely seek help. But few also questions you can ask, or maybe the psychologist can help you to ask questions. Any history of depression, abuse, relationship issues, like after which you have started self harming, or after which you have started getting suicidal thoughts? Is self harming trying to punish self or express feelings of anger, frustration, sadness? Like, what makes me to harm myself? Is it like I'm trying to punish myself? So, suicidal thoughts also, what makes me to feel like killing myself? What, like, what is the thing? What is my purpose that can be served after killing myself? Are there any plans in the near future? Have you attempted or not? So those questions are unanswered. What, as I mentioned, what are the reasons? Is there any other way to express your uh, difficulties or distress? Anyone to vent out? And what are your personal and professional goals? Are they being not met, or do you feel that they will not be met? Is there anything related to that? What makes you feel that you won't be able to achieve, or whatever you have achieved till now is waste? So the questions are not very clear, but I would suggest that you get in touch with a professional at the earliest. Few things you can start doing. I think the psychologist or the psychiatrist will also help you to do that. Is make a schedule, make a routine, start doing your interest, hobbies, any physical exercise, write the probable thoughts, probable outcomes, any feelings, what could be the probable solution if it, if the thoughts are, for this reason I'm feeling like killing myself, or for this reason I'm trying to harm myself. So what would be the immediate solution? Are there any solution? If you're not able to find out, then I think the professional can help you in doing that. And if you need medications, please go ahead and take it. Okay. Of course, taking the opinion of the psychiatrist, not from the Google. What if I don't love myself? Okay. So, since when did you have this feeling? Any particular reason that made you to feel that? Is it like if you don't love yourself, you want to hate yourself? What do you feel if you don't take care about yourself? Do you feel happy, content, sad, angry, any other positive, negative feeling, or it is just a thought? Is it something related to that? You don't want to love yourself, you want to, don't want to take care about yourself. That's not clear from the query, but I can definitely explain why we need to take care of ourselves, or why we need to love ourselves, or at least be conscious about ourselves, because it's the automatic part of human being, and it helps us to relate to others. It's the representation of one's own identity, and self is very central part of our motivation, cognition, feelings, or affect is feeling, and social identity. So there are different parts of the self. The self concept, itself is like a book. So it has self concept, self knowledge, self esteem, like how much do I feel worth about myself, social self, and agent self, like the executive self that helps us to make choices, take decision, actively respond. So if I don't love myself, so all these areas are going to get affected, like my motivation to work, study, eat, go out, my way of thinking about a situation, my feelings, my way of socially connecting with people. So all these are going to affect if I don't want to love myself. So I hope these can help you to some extent. Okay. How do I break my OCD? So this is also not very clear. Why? Because how did you know that you have OCD? Did anybody diagnose you, or it's only that you have? We tend to use these words in layman term, like if you clean too much, if you organize too much, people tend to diagnose like, "Arey, you have OCD. Arey, don't be an OCD. Don't like." We start labeling so much. So who gave you the diagnosis, or is it self-diagnosed or over-diagnosed? So what are the obsessions? What are the compulsions? So please note down these questions so that you have some answer to these. What are their nature? Like what kind of obsessions are these? What are the repetitive thoughts? What are the repetitive compulsions? Like is it washing, cleaning, organizing, uh, being perfect, uh, reaching the perfectionism? So what is the nature of these? Duration, intensity, how much time I'm spending in doing the compulsions, how intense they are, how much they are interfering in my life, how successful I am in controlling the obsessions and the compulsions. Do I always, abide by whatever obsessions are there? Severity, number of times I'm performing the compulsions. What happens if I don't perform the compulsions? Like if I don't wash my hands 10 times, or if I don't keep the things at the proper place, what happens to me? What do I feel? Do I feel anxious, depressed, upset, angry? What? So, to start with, to break the cycle, definitely you might have to try to refrain from performing the compulsions gradually, not at once. So, definitely, if you're arranging things for 10 times, you cannot stop it to make it to zero. So, it has to go 10, 9, 8, 7, like that. Or if you want to keep, I had a client who used to keep things at a 90-degree angle. So definitely it was not possible for her to keep things, haphazard at one go. So definitely there's trying to reduce the angles. I'm not sure how severe it is, but in many cases they use the divider also to see the angle. So please consult a psychiatrist or a clinical psychologist if you see that the duration is more than 2 weeks, 3 weeks, intense, how intense they are. So I think you will get some direction into it and then discuss with the professional about it. So the next three queries are related to relationship issues. So that's why I have kept it one after the other, because the questions to be asked are almost similar to each one. Few things are different because the questions are different. The first one says, when I have a fight with my partner, I go on to the extent where I pile down all the past events. And it held me in a state. So, there, I think something was missing there. So, how to feel free from all this pain? What to do upon that? So, it's not clear whether you're married, unmarried, are you still in the relationship or not? The next question, very obvious question to ask yourself, am I happy in the relationship or not? What is his expectation? What are my expectation? What is causing the fight actually? Like, I have some expectation and he has some expectation. So both are clashing or both are not meeting with each other. So what are the expectations that will help you to understand what makes you to have fight? Though fight is normal, but frequent fights are definitely difficult to deal with. Is the relationship one sided? Either way, is the relationship healthy according to you or is it toxic? There are too many fights. Is it physical fight or only verbal fight? That is also not clear. Next, very important question, are both personalities compatible with each other? We do say, like, like film dialogues, opposites attract, but if it is too opposite, then it becomes very difficult to be compatible with each other, to understand each other's needs. So, write down few personality traits he has and write down few personality traits you have. I don't know whether it's a male or female, so I'm assuming either one it could be. So write the traits of both and see whether it's matching with each other or not. If you want to discuss this, you can definitely discuss with your partner about this. And the next question you should ask yourself, what makes me pile up all the past events? Aren't they resolved? So, what are the past events? What happened in the past related to the relationship? What did the partner did not meet your expectation or the either way? How it can be met? Can it be, you know, uh, he- solved with a discussion? Like, these are the things I was looking forward. Now it did not happen. Like, for example, I'm just giving an example. So, if it was an anniversary date, so either of the partner forgot. So, what to do about it? Okay, the person forgot. So, now should I keep quiet? Should I tell him or her? Should we celebrate it in some other day that will make me feel better? So, what is the solution that we can do about it? Like, if they are not resolved, how we can resolve about it so that every time it just piles up. So piling up means, so either you have not resolved it or you have not went it out to the partner, or something is missing over here. Okay, so till now you can ask these questions and later on you can take the help of a professional to get a more idea about how to deal with the relationship issues. Second one, if my partner raises voice, I am getting panicked. Even for simple things, I'm overthinking what to do for that. So here also not very clear whether you are married or not, whether you are still in the relationship or not. Next question, very important thing. Why is he raising his voice? Since when? Is it his personality trait? Does he do it always? Do you like it? So, answer in a very straightforward manner. Am I happy in the relationship? As I mentioned, expectation wise, relationship wise. So, what makes me feel panic? So, panic is like going extreme. So, what makes him raise his voice? Is it always your fault or is it his nature to raise his voice? This is how he has been brought up, something like that. And I'm overthinking, so definitely overthinking will come, that's natural, and if we want to stop it, it won't. So you write down the thoughts, what are the things that you are overthinking about, what are the probable outcomes, like is the thought related to breakup, like what if he breaks up, what if I break up, what will happen, how will I get married, or if you are already married, how will I run my family or myself. So write the probable outcomes and probable solution. So what? Okay, this has happened, or suppose this will happen. I'm assuming. So then what? So overthink, but overthink about the solutions too, along with the questions. Because if the questions are, it goes on like a vicious cycle. So try to think about the solutions along with the thoughts. Third one, my partner didn't provide me quality time, and that make me depressed. So both the sentence aren't clear that uh, didn't provide me quality time, when, what kind of quality time do I need, and what does he or she do instead? Like, does he or she spend time with the friends, with the families, and ignore you? So those things are very important to ask. And what are your expectations? Note down the depressing thoughts, like what makes you feel depressed. So there must be some thought related to it, like is he or she ignoring me, if he or she is in relationship with other people, or he or she is not replying to me but chatting with his or her friends. So what are the thoughts? You write those thoughts down, probable outcomes, and what do you want as a solution to it. So that can definitely give you some direction into what is going on in the present relationship, or I don't know whether it's present or past, but whatever relationship we are talking about, it can give you some direction to it. I'm using an app called Presently. Still, negative thoughts come to my mind more often. I just feel useless and good for nothing. Okay, so along with the previous question, since when do you get negative thoughts? Since when did you need to get, use this app? What kind of solutions do they provide? Are they applicable to my situation, circumstances, or not? Because many a times apps cannot solve all the problems, because they use those robots or artificial intelligence kind of thing to on chat to answer your queries. Are they using that which is not matching with my situation, or what is the matter? Along with that, what kind of negative thoughts are they? What are the negative feelings associated with it? So you might note down, is it related to depression, anxiety, upset, any history of depression or anxiety that made you to go to the app and seek answers to it? What are the probable fears or outcomes? What makes you feel useless? Are there any reasons behind it? Okay, even if you are useless or good for nothing, what are you good for? Are there anything that you can do which could be of use for yourself or anybody else? So write the probable thoughts, the probable outcomes, and maybe few solutions if they are. And definitely seek the help of a psychiatrist or a clinical psychologist that can help you to get some more direction into feeling like this. I'm not able to find a job that make me to be inferior to my friends. I'm not able to find my passion. Okay, so this question is also not very clear. What kind of jobs am I expecting? You can ask yourself, is it related to teaching, clerical job, or IT or software or MNC? What are the other options available? Is there any particular kind of job that you are looking forward to and you are not getting that job? So, is there a financial constraint? So then, is it possible to, start working something else on the money and then keep looking for it? So look for other options available, and the feeling is making you inferior to your friends. So assuming that your friends have got the job, so what strengths or interest areas you have, like what are you good at, and whether that can be applied to your job field or not. Any short term course can be done to upgrade your skills. I don't know how far you have studied. Is there any possibility that you can do something online and that can help you to get the job? Do some research, what other options are available with the particular subject that you have studied. uh, and answer to the question that I'm not able to find my passion. So, is it passion or aptitude? I'm not sure. You can consult a professional that can help you in go through an aptitude test, interest test, so you can understand your okay. These are my interests and these are my aptitude. Like I'm interested in, for example, I'm interested in. Plants and trees, but I don't have the aptitude or the ability to study so much or remember so many names of scientific names of plants and trees. So maybe I have interest but I don't have the aptitude to use it in my workplace. So whatever I'm good at, maybe I have a very good typing speed. So for professional purpose, I can take a job that involves very good typing speed. And for interest, I can read books on botany or on plants that can help me do my passion and my requirement. Okay? I'm very much afraid to go in cars, especially in a crowded road or when there's an uphill and there are cars behind my vehicle. Even though I'm the pillion rider, I feel the vehicle will fall into some deep pit or hit some vehicle. So there are a lot of questions to be asked. You can ask it yourself. You can note down that is it like recently you have shifted from a less crowded city to a more crowded, or shifted to a new city that is very different from where you have been? Any such incident or what your fears are has happened with yourself, others, or is it like in the news or those news feed that you get on social media? Is there too much exposure to accident news videos or information every day, because we have unlimited exposure of things when we open the for example social media apps. That there are reels, we don't understand what the video is about, and then you get to see something which you don't want to watch, something which you don't like, which is very unpleasant. So is that happening too often? You're, what about when you're traveling in a bus, train, flights? Does the same feeling come that the train will hit the other train, or will the flight clash with other flights, or is the feeling same when you're traveling in a different vehicle other than bike or a car? Do you know how to drive a car or ride a bike? So I don't know whether you have not mentioned. So if you don't know, learn and see whether it actually happens. You would understand the mechanism of clutch, brake, and accelerator, whether you're traveling in a uphill or downhill. Uh, or if you don't have a hill nearby, you can try the parking lots of car parking things, and there you can get your hands and feet very accustomed to this. So try and implement, drive yourself, see whether it actually happens or not, whether your fears are actually coming true or not. So most of the things you have to try and see whether it's actually your fear is actually coming true or not, or is it only the assumption. Okay, so that's all. Thank you.
Um, Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for that. We have four questions which have been just now asked. We'll just put it in chat. Just a second.
I'm not able to see the questions.
No, no, I'm
Okay,
just putting.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
I am feeling anxious all the time. What is the reason like? I feel my heart pounding and restlessness along with shortness of breath. Like while taking
Taking bath.
bath, reading, focusing, and any mood. Please help. What should I do? Why does it happen to me? Thank you. Best much in advance.
Okay, so first option is like to please speak to the professional, because it seems quite difficult to manage on your own all the time. But you can ask few of the questions like when did it start happening, or what makes me feel anxious all the time? Are there any definite causes to it? You have physical symptoms also. So for the time being, start doing some breathing exercises, relaxation exercise that will help you to calm down the inner physiological symptoms, but definitely not going to work in a day or two. Because if you do one exercise for 3 months, then only the body will understand that you need to relax all the time. So first of all, get in touch with the professionals. That might help you to understand a lot of things. But I had already mentioned few questions before, like duration, course, causes, precipitating factors. So try to answer those so that you can get some direction, like why is it happening to me. So you will get to know the individual causes, because the questions were very general in nature.
Next question, ma'am. I have taught myself to act calm around most things, even in the worst situations. I try to stay calm. But people see it as lack of sincerity. Then I am blamed. And when I finally crack open, I am suddenly arrogant or mean. What can I do to please everyone?
To please everyone, you can't please everyone, not required. First of all, and definitely ask yourself what made you to teach yourself to stay calm all the time, because it's really unrealistic to stay calm all the time. So suppose your friend is coming after 1 hour, you just cannot smile and say, wow, I am so happy you have come so late. So definitely, if they are close friends who are going to blast out, or if it is like sorry, employees, you must say like, next time I would expect you to come on time. So if this is like, either you react or you don't react, so it's not like a all or none phenomena. You can be assertive at times to help people know what you are feeling or not. So this is like actually respecting your feeling. You can get angry, you can blast out at people, but there must be some reasons to it. That please answer few of the questions, that what made you to teach yourself to be calm all the time. It's not possible, because anger is one of the you know evolutionary emotion. Anger, anxiety, everything. And definitely you cannot please everyone. It's not possible.
Okay. Next question. In school, I used to be a person with maximum number of friends, but as I have grown up during my higher secondary and came in college, I don't have good friends now. Most of the people with whom I spend most of the time in college, they talk about topics which are very irrelevant to me. Basically, I want to ask that how to lead my life in solitude and achieve my goal if my peer group is not adding value to my life. Please suggest.
Okay, so many questions to be asked to yourself. First of all, what makes you to feel that you would, lead the rest of your life in solitude? Because human beings are social animals. We can't live alone, because we have something, as I mentioned, as social self. So if that need is also not met, so obviously we will be upset. That will affect my motivation, my thought, my emotion, everything. I'm sorry. So definitely it is a normal change. Like in school, we are minor, we are immature. We, all of us are immature, and we don't know how to choose friends. So when we grow up, when we go to the college, we are almost 18, 19, and our already personality pattern traits have already grown. So we can choose friends. Like this friend I can discuss only about hanging out. This friend I can only discuss about history, or this friend I can only discuss about politics. But if you discuss politics with a friend who likes to hang out, so they will be like, okay, don't bore me. So make a list of your friends, whoever is present in your current life, make a list, write their names, and write down the topics, what topics you can discuss with person A, person B, person C. So if you have two or three friends who are close enough, whom you can call and, I need help, come soon. So I think with age, we all end up having those. But obviously, you can seek help if you wish to, because we usually cannot live in solitude that way.
Thank you, ma'am. Next question.
Maya, you are mute. Hello, Maya, you are mute.
Sorry about that.
No problem.
Sorry. I recently lost my grandfather about 2 months back. I was closest to him. I miss him all the time. Sometimes I feel zoned out thinking about him, the great time we had. How should I deal with it? Any suggestions, please?
Okay. So, I know what you are going through, because grandparents are very close to our heart, and all the family members are usually very close to our heart. So, that's normal to feel. So, that's like grief you are going through. But I don't know how old he was. If it was good for him to to depart right now, maybe if he would have been alive, so he might would have suffered more. I don't know what reason it was. So I know grandparents are very close to us, but if you need to talk to him, you can close your eyes and talk to him in front of the picture. If you have achieved something, you can tell him. So, you can do that. But it's okay. Like we really do, but people who are very close to us, we don't want to let them go. But with age, this is a cycle of life. We are all going to get old someday and all. But if you need to talk to him, if you need to share to him, you can definitely do that. You might, I am guessing you have a picture of him. So share with him, talk to him. What do you want to discuss? What do you want to share? If he was the one who was giving you more solutions, so tell him the problem and see. Uh, we don't know about spirituality or anything, but as a venting out, you can definitely do that. It might take some time, but it's okay. For the time being, you can try this.
Thank you. Next question: worst inferior complex. I just cannot overcome it. Will it ever go away?
As I said, there is a lot of questions to be asked, like what makes you feel inferior, from whom. Are they friends, families, relatives? On what aspect? Is it job? Is it college? Is it studies? And what? Is there anything that you don't feel inferior about it? So there are a lot of questions to be asked. So definitely it will go away if you really want to work on it. So you can take the help of a professional if you want to reflect on this more about it. But ask few questions like since when, what are the causes, what are the precipitating factor, has there been any recent episodes or maybe in the past, is there any comparison happening at home or in the classroom? So what are the reasons that makes you feel like this?
Next question. I expect many things from people. When they don't do as I expect them to, I'm shattered. I always want people to be more considerate. Is it too much to
To
ask?
ask. Okay. So, would you be, doing all what is expected from you from others? See, the thing is, everybody has their own point of view, own opinion, own thoughts because we are individuals. It's like, five fingers are different. So, everyone has their own opinion, own point of view, own thoughts, feelings, way of acting, personality traits. So, everything cannot happen to what I am expecting. So write down your expectations and see whether it's ideal expectations or real expectations. Like, are the expectations achievable or not? If achievable, then how do you think that they are going to, meet that? So, following your expectations, I don't know how considerate that would be. So if you want to reflect more on that, you can take help of a professional for a few sessions to know more about it.
Last question. I have a habit of thinking negative for everything that is going to happen. Like the most negative that can happen comes to my mind. Mostly for my family. Like if someone I
I'm going.
going, I
I
feel like they will have an accident, etc. How to cure this?
Yes, so definitely it's not a habit. It has developed into a habit. So definitely it has a course. It might have started somewhere. So ask what is the source, course, what are the causes, what is making you feel anxious? Has there been any incident of accidents or anything that had made you to come to a habit of feeling negative about it? And then you can write down the probable negative thoughts that you feel that might come true. So write the probable outcomes and the probable solution, like what if the person actually has accident, what are your role, what are you going to do, what will happen, what are the effective resources or solutions available to you. So that might help you to think about the solutions also and not going on revolving around the problem only. You can take help of a professional if you need to.
So that's it. Anybody wants to ask any more questions? You're welcome to put it in chat or unmute yourself. All right. So thank you guys for being there today. Thank you, ma'am, so much
I
for
don't
that
complain,
patient
ma'am.
answering of all the queries. I hope
Thank you.
everyone who asked their queries got an answer to it, and
Mhm.
I hope you can, get some idea about how to handle your issues.
Mhm.
So thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you for being there with us. And thank you guys. Thanks a lot for everything. This feedback there
Feedback.
was.
Thank you so much.
Thank
So
you, thank you,
I
thank you, guys.
and definitely I did not provide a straightforward answer. So many of you might think like it's like hitting around the bush, but
No,
definitely we
no.
need to know that as I mentioned the river, like you just cannot see the sea and just know where they are coming from. So they come from anywhere. So we need to know the reasons behind it. So try to answer few queries that are there unanswered, and that can sometimes give us direction, like which way to go. Like, should I continue with the relationship or should I just go ahead, move ahead?
Yes.
So
No,
that
really,
way.
ma'am. I think really you did it in a very different way. Like normally we just have a question and answer, but I liked your style because
Thank
you
you.
are asking because you know yourself best. So when the
Yes.
person is asking a question, when they ask themselves those questions, that will guide them to take the right decision. So it
Yes.
was a very very introspective way, and I think it's very nice. I hope people do get answers for that. So
Yes.
thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you
Thank you
so much.
so much. Thank you
Thank
for
you,
giving
guys.
me the opportunity. So
For sure.
bye. Take
We'll
care.
call
Bye.
you again.
I'll be
So,
happy to come.
thank you. Thank you
Thank you.
so much.
Bye. Take
And
care.
thank you, guys. And next week, we are having our first offline meet. So, it's happening in CUSAT. So, anybody interested, you'll get the you are all in Mind Empowered group, so you'll get the thing. So, it's a life coach coming from Bangalore to Kochi, and yeah, we are having our first offline meet with him. So,
Thank you.
thank
Bye.
you, guys. Have a
Bye.
beautiful weekend. See ya. Bye
Same to
bye.
you. Thank you. Bye.